Hi guys, it's MTG here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the iPhone X. This is an after the hype review, so I'll be reviewing it in the context of all the other phones that are already out right now. I've had this phone for about 2 months now, so I'll share what I like about it, don't like about it, and my general thoughts. This is my iPhone X review after the hype. The design is what stands out when you first pick up the iPhone X. With the iPhone X, Apple has gone back to the glass back. This will allow for wireless charging, but also means the phone will be more fragile than recent models. The frame of the phone is a very shiny stainless steel. And honestly, the iPhone X, and especially this space gray model, look and feel really great. The glass on the front and the back go seamlessly into the frame, and the entire device just feels very premium and top of the line. On the front, you'll find what makes the X stand out from all previous iPhones, and that is the 5.8-inch OLED screen that fills up pretty much the entire front of the phone. The Samsung-produced screen has an odd resolution somewhere in between 1080p and QHD at 2436 by 1125. Specs-wise, the iPhone X does have a lot going for it. It has 3GB of RAM, up to 256GB of internal storage, Apple's new A11 Bionic chip, Face ID sensors, IP67 water and dust resistance, and wireless charging. But this phone has already been out for about 2 months now, so you probably already knew all of that. Specifications aside, I wanted the majority of this video to focus on how this phone performs in the real world as a daily device. One way Apple tried to make the iPhone X unique is with that notch on the top of its screen. Many people hate it, but really when I'm using the phone, I don't mind it at all. I think the biggest thing I mind is not being able to see my battery percentage in the top right corner at all times, and even that can be checked when I'm in the control center. The screen is one of the best on any phone right now, and you won't find any of the major issues like off-angle blue tint on the iPhone X. Colors aren't as saturated as on the Note 8, but colors definitely still pop and look great. Text will be crisp, and any sort of media content will show very nicely. The screen also gets plenty bright enough to see even in direct sunlight. But keep in mind that although on paper the iPhone X seems to have the biggest screen size out of all the iPhones out right now, the iPhone X's effective screen size isn't as big as the 5.8-inch measurement suggests. When watching videos, unless you don't mind a chunk of video being cut off the side, you don't get to use all of that screen. The area where the video is playing is now about the size of the iPhone 8 screen. This also applies to apps that are not updated yet. Your effective screen size reduces to about 5 inches in these instances, but the OLED and higher resolution is a noticeable upgrade over the iPhone 8, so the experience is not identical. A pleasant surprise for me were the stereo speakers. I had come from using the Note 8, so had almost given up on decent audio quality from phone speakers, but the iPhone X rivals the Pixel 2 XL with how loud and clear it gets. Yes, the right speaker is downfiring, so it's still easy to cover, but even when it's completely covered, you'll still get okay sound. The same thing can't be said for a lot of devices out right now. So you get no headphone jack, but at least you get some pretty good speakers. The new iPhones finally support both fast cable charging and fast wireless charging. Yes, with both you have to buy additional accessories, but with Apple adopting wireless charging, I expect to see a lot more in public places. Also, wirelessly charging your phone every night instead of plugging in your phone will help with the normal wear and tear that the charging port and cables go through. Whether you're one to use wireless charging often, it's still a welcome feature that I'm happy was included in the iPhone X. Another additional feature that you may not use often but is welcome is iPhone's IP67 water and dust resistance. I don't recommend you go take underwater pictures with the phone or do anything to test its capabilities, but with such a serious investment in your pocket, the rating should give you peace of mind that you can answer a call in the rain, or you can drop your phone in the bathtub and it will still be okay. Face ID actually works a lot better than I had expected. There were rarely any instances where Face ID couldn't detect my face. A lot of the times, by the time I pick up the phone and swipe up from the bottom, the phone has already detected my face and I'm in. I like how notification content hides until it detects my face. But in general, no matter how quickly and accurately Face ID works, there are still scenarios where I'd rather use Touch ID. Sometimes I'd rather discreetly use a fingerprint sensor than awkwardly try to find a line of sight between the sensors and my face. Hopefully, by next year, Apple would find a way to implement Touch ID maybe in the Apple logo or in the screen itself. I'm an Android guy. My SIM has always been in an Android device ever since I switched from the iPhone 5 to the Galaxy S4. But my laptop of choice is the MacBook Pro, so I've also always at least been partly into the Apple ecosystem. And now, while reviewing the iPhone X, I realized the pluses that iOS and being in the Apple ecosystem in general add to the experience. The App Store is still bigger and has a better selection of apps than the Google Play Store. These apps are optimized and also usually get updated first. AirDrop has allowed for very easy file transfers from my phone to my laptop and vice versa. iMessage and FaceTime are still unrivaled in Android with their ease of use and the fact that no additional apps or accounts are needed. The bottom line is, if you're in the Apple ecosystem, having an iPhone is very convenient. And right now, the iPhone X is the latest and greatest iPhone. Navigating through the phone is snappy, and everything responds instantly. Like on Macs, I love just being able to gesture between apps that I have open instantly. I don't have to go to recent apps and select one. The iPhone X also brought over Animojis. I haven't used Animojis outside of simply showing people how it worked, and it appears as if mainly uses the front camera. But it is a fun little feature nonetheless that I'm sure people are taking full advantage of. Now I'll shift to talking about the phone's cameras. I've compared the iPhone X's cameras head-to-head with the Note 8, the Pixel 2 XL, and the OnePlus 5T, so make sure to check out those videos if you want to see how they compared in more detail, and if you want to see more scenarios or shots in general. The iPhone X is still one of the best camera phones on the market right now. The dual 12-megapixel cameras on the iPhone X produce very high-detailed, warm photos that do well in just about every lighting condition. The HDR abilities do a great job of making sure colors pop in both the foreground and background of its images. The front camera portrait mode still never really seems to get my hair in focus, but the back portrait mode images that utilize both rear cameras to take come out pretty good with solid edge detection and detail. In low light, the X struggles with light sources, but as I said, in general, the iPhone X takes really solid pictures no matter the lighting conditions. The iPhone X is also capable of shooting at the insane frame rate of 240 frames per second at 1080p. The iPhone X's dual optical image stabilization also allows for smooth video without the overcompensating jitter caused by electronic image stabilization. As you can see, there are a ton of things to like about this phone, but throughout this video, I've purposefully left out the biggest red flag with purchasing the iPhone X, its price. It starts at $1,000, and in some other countries, it even costs more than that. If this phone was the iPhone 8, I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. If they released this phone alongside a bigger version of it at the $700 and $800 price point that the 8 and 8 Plus are at right now, it would be extremely easy to recommend this phone to anybody, whether they are an Apple lover or not. I haven't mentioned the price until now to remind you of the fact that the iPhone X is a really great phone despite its flaws. I'm not going to say that this phone isn't worth it, because it is worth it to many people who are already engulfed in the Apple ecosystem. But at $1,000, you expect a phone that is flawless. The iPhone X is not. It doesn't have expandable storage and doesn't even come with fast charging cables and adapters in the box. I still give a lot of credit to Apple for stepping outside of their comfort zone and taking some risk in terms of the new design and new features. But $1,000 and $1,200 for models of a phone sound insane when we have brand new Android phones like the OnePlus 5T and Essential phone being sold at around half the price right now. Even when we look at the more expensive Android flagships, the Note 8 includes $100 wired earphones, the Pixel 2s include unlimited photo and video storage on Google's Photos, and both include fast charging adapters in the box. The iPhone X is a great phone, and for a lot of its target audience, the price point isn't even a deal breaker. Apple still expected to sell out on launch as it did. With the iPhone X, you get a new, very premium design and OLED screen powered by the most powerful smartphone chipset in the A11 Bionic. You get the massive selection of optimized apps in the App Store and the added continuity with always being able to access your stuff and all of your Apple products. If price isn't a factor and you're already engulfed in the Apple ecosystem, this is the phone you've been waiting for. It is an iPhone that looks different than any other iPhone before it, has new features, and is very fast. But for anyone else interested in a new phone, there have been many more affordable options released this year that can do as much or even more as the iPhone X currently can. Android is also becoming a cleaner operating system in general, and Android phones are becoming as smooth as new iPhones. If you insist on staying Apple, they released 2 other solid phones this year in the 8 and 8 Plus that are $300 and $200 cheaper respectively. All I'm saying is this is an expensive device. There are a lot of options out there, so you should really evaluate those options before pulling the trigger on such an expensive phone. That's all I had to talk about today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.